Hello YouTube, welcome back. Today we're going to be asking the question, who in the JOESTAR family could survive, and not only survive, but devour the other players at Bluelock? And which of them would fail? Who can come out on top of the 300 other people at Bluelock? And who's not even seeing the top? I'm going to answer that today. Subscribe and leave a like. Alright, to start off with, I think we're gonna need to start with who's not surviving at Bluelock. Let's say each character from JoJo's gets an invite to Bluelock. A lot of people just aren't gonna accept, but I want to throw some curveballs in here, you know, for sake of argument. So let's start at the start. Jonathan JOESTAR. See, Jonathan is not surviving in Bluelock. Honestly, I think he's out in the first selection. Why I think that? He's a very honorable, right? Very honorable man. I don't think he has the will in himself to eliminate someone in the tag minigame with the ball. He's not pulling a botch, or he's not kicking Kira in the head. So I think he gets out there. Now, keeping pace here with the JoJo's, I think Jonathan JOESTAR is definitely out first, but another guy who's gonna go out in this first selection is Johnny JOESTAR from Part 7. Now, I don't gotta speak too much here. He can't play soccer. Look at the guy. I mean, come on. For sake of argument, we could say Johnny JOESTAR Part 8, you know, when he can walk, but basically immediately dies, is a candidate, but, like, I don't feel like that's his character. Johnny, you're out the first selection. That's Jonathan and Johnny gone. Let's move on. Let's just go to part 2, Joseph. We're going to go in chronological order here. First selection. Is Joseph making it past the first selection? Absolutely. Joseph he's a big man. He's a big man, we know that, because he takes after his grandfather, Jonathan. Now, Joseph is he's a strong player here. Let's say from here on out, every JOESTAR is playing in this, playing in Bluelock all at once, despite them being different ages. We're saying prime, they're prime in their prime. Alright, they're playing in Bluelock. Not counting Jonathan or Johnny. Throw those out the window. So Joseph, prime. I mean, we gotta go with part 2, Joseph. His wittiness and his tricks, those already could get him far in Bluelock. But on top of his athleticism, and, let's exclude Hamon. He's already athletic without it. But if we included that, his breathing, he could run for hours. But we'll exclude that. He could run, a good length still. He's going to be he's like a stronger Isugi. And he's funny. Alright, following order here, we might as well talk about Jotaro. I mean, Jotaro, he's definitely making it past the first selection. Jotaro is, again, one of the JOESTARs who gifted from his grandfather, very athletic. It's saying everyone is athletic doesn't make them automatically pass, of course. We're also going to incorporate the fact that, they have to have some soccer knowledge. That's the only thing that makes sense. Assume everyone has infinite soccer knowledge just as much as Igaguri or Isugi, any one of the players in Bluelock, same soccer knowledge relative to them coming in. Jotaro, I think he could go far. He's very stone cold. He would not care about eliminating someone. He's definitely making it past the first selection. Now let's skip Josuke for now. He's a special case. We're gonna go straight to Giorno here. Now Giorno, see, he's calm. He's tactile. He's laser focused. I mean, that man, he's got the inner steel to survive. He can survive anything. However, he's got a big ego, but it's not very ambitious, a very ambitious ego. Let me rephrase. He's got a very ambitious ego, but it's not the kind that you want at Bluelock. It's not the ego that drives you to beat others. It's the ego to drive himself. So he's gonna make it past the first selection, but things might get shaky here down the road. Now, let's move on to Jolene. Now, Jolene, she really hasn't, we haven't seen much girls in Bluelock. So whether or not she gets invited, that's up to you. Let's say she does, though. Jolene, we've seen incredible strength feats. I mean, she was boxing Seamoon that one time. Y'all remember that? That couldn't have been easy. And she was dodging. She's obviously pretty agile. I think she could make it past the first selection. She's smart. She's gritty. She's mentally resilient, definitely. I feel like she could have a high evolution rate. Obviously, in a man's setting, it could be pretty difficult for her, just objectively speaking. But I think she's gonna make it past the first selection easily here. Now, there's only one character we're really missing now. It's Josuke Part 8. He's looking at having it's gonna be tough for him, honestly. I think it'll be tough for him. As we've seen in Part 8, he's highly adaptive. He's very unpredictable. He's analytical too. Despite him being a little bit slow, he's analytical. He's patient, methodical. I mean, he's got a lot of traits. He just doesn't have the ego. Gappy, he just doesn't have the ego. I don't think he could evolve at a fast enough rate. He's gonna make it past the first selection, but I don't know if he's gonna be able to evolve at a fast enough rate to compete by, the Neo Egoist League. He's gonna make it far, but we'll get into that later. Let's just keep moving along. Get to our last Josuke here. Now, the reason I left Josuke Part 4 for last is because I think he can make it past the first selection, but I think Josuke is gonna lose in the second selection for one reason and one reason alone, because of his hair. I think someone on the team, let's say he was in Isugi's position, Raichi is gonna be like, "Whoa, you got some dumb looking hair," and Josuke is gonna beat the living daylights out of him, and they're not gonna play well together. They're not gonna function as a team, is what I'm saying. So I think any team that Josuke's on, there's a almost 100% chance someone on the team calls his hair stupid. And I mean, like, Baru's got a similar haircut. Someone called Baru's hair stupid. He didn't crash out kill him. Josuke's gonna crash out kill him. That's all I'm saying. He's not making it past selection 2. Now listen, I know I said I saved Josuke for last, but I almost forgot about the wild card himself, Dio. Now, we're going with Part 3 Dio here because he has Jonathan's body, so he's technically part of the fam. Really, there's not much to say about Dio. He's naturally athletic. He's got an insanely high ego. He's built for Bluelock, pretty much. So, he's easily making it past the first and second selection. I don't think we have anything to worry about there. I think we should save Dio for a little bit. Let's talk about him later. Let's get into how the JOESTARs are going to fare in this next selection, mainly. So, let's do a little quick dive on what our list is looking like right now. We're looking at Jonathan, Johnny, and Josuke gone. Jonathan, Johnny eliminated first selection. Josuke left because of his hair in the second selection. Who do we have left then? We have Joseph. We have Dio, the wild card. Not the literal wild card, I mean like the wild card. But we have Dio. We have Josuke Part 8. We have Jolene. We have Jotaro. And that's all we got. That's all we have. That's all we have left. Already down to, what is that, 6, I think? So, let's talk about the second selection here. Matching up team-wise, I don't think Ego would particularly see any of these guys with weapons other than Joseph and Dio, that being their athleticism. And I think he may put them on the same team together. Whether this causes conflicts or not, I don't think it matters, really. Because they're going to keep their personality traits. Dio's not going to like Joseph, but Dio's not going to be a vampire. So he's not going to, kill Joseph or anything. They're just not going to pair well together. Which we saw was an okay team dynamic. I mean, none of Baru's team liked him, but they saw his, athleticism and they respected it. So they kept him, kept passing to him, kept giving him the ball. So I think a similar situation is going to happen where it's going to be almost a 2-striker formation with Joseph and Dio. Them being just big bodies, where it's going to be a lot of passing to them, and I easily think Dio and Joseph clear the second selection together on the same team, not on Baru's team. Let's go ahead and throw them on the team with the twins, sure. Whatever team they were on, I'll put it up on screen right here, I can't remember. Throw them on that team. I think they're going to take it all the way. What this means for Chigiri, I don't know, we'll get to that later. Now, speaking second selection-wise, I think Jotaro is going to work really well on Team Z. Main character energy. Huh? You know, it's got a part to play in it. He's really analytical. He's really logical. And I think that's what Team Z was missing. They had Isagi, okay? They had Isagi. He was very analytical, but he was still in his evolution stage. Like he hadn't thought of the grand scope of things. He started to evolve farther in, but it just wasn't enough. So I think putting Jotaro on that team to have an established like stronghold. They had Kuon. He was kind of like the cool-headed leader type almost. He just wasn't enough. He obviously betrayed them in that one scene with the brothers, which, oh boy, that gets all messed up when Joseph and Dio get put in the mix. But I think Jotaro works well on Team Z, and obviously we know Team Z is gonna pass. So no one's getting eliminated. Now Jolene's a special case where I think she could fit on Team Z, but she could also fit with Nagi's team. I think it was Team X. I could be wrong on that. I'll put it on screen. It might have been Team Y. I don't know. But putting them on Nagi's team with Reo and Zantetsu, I think she would work well further in the back almost, passing to Reo. Because obviously that's kind of like what they were building their thing around, was passing to Reo. Reo goes to any of them. That was their team dynamic really during that selection. So I think she goes there. I think she survives. But someone's got to get eliminated. So let's talk about Giorno. Now, I think we're going to lump Giorno and Josuke Part 8 together because I think they're in the same boat where they're not super physically, physically gifted in any sense. I mean, Giorno probably more than Gappy. Gappy's he's a pretty lean guy. He's got muscle to him, but he's pretty lean. So I think Gappy Giorno going on the same team and being one of the teams that get eliminated sort of works here with the second selection because I feel like two people gotta go, and they really seem like the type that can go here. I mean, the third selection, I don't even know if Giorno and Gappy could pass that, so eliminating them here seems just like the logical route to me. Giorno, he's obviously not doing anything special with the ball, and Gappy, they both possess very strong minds, very analytical, very patient. They could wait for the right time to attack, but I don't think they can evolve anywhere past that. So let's get into the selection 3 and developing their weapons, with the kicking with the 100 goals. Now I think starting off the third selection, everyone who's left, that being Dio, Joseph, Jotaro, Jolene, I think they all make it past the 100 goals on the goalkeeper. Jolene might struggle, but I think the rest of them are making it through easily. Who's gone by this point? We're missing poor Jonathan and Johnny are already gone. Gappy's gone. Giorno's gone. We lost Josuke a while back, part 4. That leaves us with our last, remaining 4. Team composition-wise, I think Jolene and Jotaro go together pretty well. They could pair up with someone like Reo and almost fill in for Chigiri and Kunigami. Jolene could be the Chigiri and Jotaro could be Kunigami. They could almost fill in for that dynamic. And I think Joseph and Dio stay together. That begs the question, who goes with them? It has to be someone to mediate. It has to be someone to calm them down. I'm thinking this is going to be a sort of Isagi Baru Nagi setup, where we have Nagi in place of Joseph, Dio in place of Baru, and Isagi just being Isagi. So Isagi's going to go with Dio, and he's going to abandon Bachira and Reo, and Nagi, I guess, technically. So they're going to form a trio almost. They're going to be a pretty powerhouse. Obviously, Rin, Tokimitsu, Aryu are going to form their trio, top 3. I think that pretty much gets everyone important. We're missing Shido. I don't know how that matchup goes. They all go in their own almost section. I want to talk about how the matchup battle would go between these 3, because that's what this video is about, mainly. So, Isagi, Dio, and Joseph, what could they do? Now, Joseph and Isagi could definitely pair up. Joseph is definitely a genius on the field. He's a genius. He's not a talented learner. He's a genius. He could set up some sort of trickery play. We know him for his cleverness. His off-the-ball movement must be off the charts by now. I mean, he's going to outsmart the opponents any day of the week. And on top of that, Isagi's going to be on their team. So he's going to be half controlling the field and, half leaving it up to Joseph. The main scoring, however, I think is going to come from Dio. Dio's definitely going to have some leg on him. He's going to have a power shot. It's going to go straight into the goal. this team is insanely strong already. And I mean, Rin, Tokimitsu, Ario, they had an alright setup, but they're gonna go all the way, and I think they're gonna. Let's say they go up against Shido's trio. You know what? Because that would make this more fun. They beat the crap out of Shido's little squadron, whatever he started with, because he ended up with Igaguri. That's cooked. Hate that for him. Anyway, ends up with Igaguri. They take it all the way to the trio, and they go up against each other. They're taking Shido. They're taking Shido any day of the week. Dio sees his power. He's like, I want that on my team. Takes Shido. Shido, on top of this quartet, is going to be an absolute powerhouse of a team. But this is where I want them to go up against Jolene and Jotaro. So let's cut back to them. Jotaro and Jolene. Now, they're teamed up with Reo. And Reo's not going to go with Nagi. He's going to leave Nagi behind, which is, I know, a little bit out of character for him, but I really want Reo on that team as a strong, just passing unit, you know? So, we have Jolene and Jotaro. They're gonna form a duo. It's gonna be very powerful. Let's put them up against whatever team Nagi goes on. Now, we know he's gonna go with Bachira, as I said prior. I thought he was gonna go with Reo. Not gonna fit with that. Let's go Nagi, Bachira, and we're missing someone for Baru, so let's go Baru. I want Baru to end up on the team with Jotaro and Jolene and Reo. But I think Jolene and Jotaro with Reo are gonna be able to beat Nagi. Cause Nagi's gonna have Bachira to pass to him. But Baru's not gonna pass. And I think it's really gonna hurt the team not having Isugi. It's gonna be the same Nagi Baru setup, but it's really gonna hurt the team not having Isugi. They're with Bachira in place of them. So I think what's gonna happen is Bachira and Nagi are gonna stick together. Baru's gonna lose. They're gonna lose, and Baru's gonna get taken. Cause having Baru at the front with Jolene and Jotaro on the wings, being a little duo that can pass between each other, and Reo chemically balancing out all of them, is definitely going to be a good player. Let's put these four up against each other, against the Dio Joseph team. Let's see how that goes. So, just stat-wise, I mean, we have Baru Shido clashing heads. For the sake of comedy, Jotaro and Dio are going to clash heads. We're going to have Isugi probably mainly having his little feud with Reo, I think, is how that's going to go along with. And Joseph is then, by proxy, going up against Jolene. And just 1v1, a 4 individual 1v1 rise, like, I think Dio and Joseph's team is going to win. However, there's a big player that we're missing here. It's Jotaro. And Baru's, sheer power. I mean, if you think about it, Jotaro is just as big as Dio. So, it's going to be a coin flip when it comes to them on the field. Baru versus Shido. Shido can do some pretty crazy stuff, but there's no true passer of the team besides Isugi. And Isugi, as we saw from the 4th selection, right before the U20 match, when they're deciding who should be on the U20 team, he obviously doesn't understand Shido. He tried to understand his thought process, but it's too free thinking for him to understand. It's not logistical enough. So, I think Shido is going to have less ability here to devour, and Baru's going to take the win there. Baru's going to devour Shido in some form, and just be a scoring unit. That leaves Dio and Joseph in a pretty weak position. However, defense-wise, we've seen Isugi be able to understand Baru's movements and devour him when they're on the same team. So, on opposite teams, I think Isugi is going to be able to keep up with his thinking, with the thinking of Baru. And saying this, if we're saying Joseph and Isugi are almost equal in intelligence, as we've seen from part 2, Joseph will be able to keep up. So, Joseph could switch from Jolene onto Baru and start marking Baru. Baru gets shut down then. That's Isugi on crack. And I mean Baru's not beating that. So their scoring unit then gets shut down. Team Joseph and Team Dio get an extremely large advantage there, and they're going to be able to almost go through baiting with Shido, go straight to Dio, and Dio's going to be able to score. This is a very weird scenario now that I'm thinking about it. Jotaro will be able to mark Dio semi-well, but Dio is almost built for Bluelock. I mean, he is the biggest egoist in JoJo's. He thinks of himself as a god. Literally. So, I think Dio's gonna find a way to evolve and devour Jotaro. However, he's gonna notice Jotaro's ability to mark him. And I think Dio, he's gonna see Baru get locked down. He's gonna see Rayo do, his passing. He's not gonna be very, passing, yeah, he's not gonna like that. He's gonna see Jotaro's ability, and he's gonna enjoy that. So, Dio and Joseph are gonna take the win, and they're going to take Jotaro. What does this mean for Jolene and the rest of them? I think they're gonna slowly fall down in the ranks, and for sake of elimination, Jolene is going to be out in this selection. Jolene's going to fall all the way down through the rankings until she gets out. It's really unfortunate, but I just don't see anyone taking her over, the rest of their team with Baru and freaking Rayo. I just don't see them taking him, or her, I meant. So, that's going to be out for Jolene. And now, we're on to the U20 match. Now, let's pay our memorial to all our fallen JOESTARs. Rest in peace, Jonathan, Johnny, Josuke Part 8, Josuke Part 4, Giorno, and Jolene. We are left with our main three. That being Jotaro, Joseph, and Dio. Pure scoring ability-wise, Dio is going to have one of the highest scores coming out of this third selection, and I think they're going to really notice that, and they're going to put him up at the top with Rin. When they select the top 6, I'll flash it on the screen here. When they select the top 6, Dio's going to be up there. Joseph is on par with Isugi, and we know Isugi was really close to being able to devour Rin, so let's say Joseph is up there as well. Isugi, I don't think is going to be up there. I think he's going to get outshined here by some of our new additions. Nagi's going to be up there still. I think he's still going to be up there. He's going to take his own little path through with Bachira and go all the way. They're going to go all the way. They're going to make it. Nagi's going to be up there. Bachira won't be up there. Neither will Jotaro. I think Jotaro is going to be he's going to be a little bit lower. I don't think he has, not saying he doesn't have the ego or the intelligence. I just don't think he has what it takes to make it up there, especially with the team composition he had in the past selection. So, what is that to say about Jotaro being put in the Bluelock 11? I don't think he's going to be there for the U20 match. I think he's going to be a bench warmer. I don't think Jotaro's going to be there. I do think Dio and Joseph are going to be on the field. Joseph is going to be in a similar position with Isugi, I think, since they're very close, in my opinion, in terms of just ability-wise. Like, they're very close. Joseph is just athletically a lot stronger than Isugi. So, I think they're going to keep Dio somewhat up at the front. I think they're still going to keep Rin striking. But now Shido's going to go to the U20 team with Sai. How are they going to fare against that? What I think is going to happen is Shido's going to start locking up. They're going to start locking up goals when he comes in. The start is going to be basically the same. Bachira, Nagi, Isugi do their little thing. Nagi scores the first goal. That's going to be pretty much the same. The second half of the match, where everything switches, Aiku's going to be able to lock up Dio, I think, pretty easily. Joseph's going to be able to probably score at least twice, I think. Probably one at the start with Nagi, and one at the end, maybe. Not in place of Isugi's goal. Probably, like, the fourth goal. I think they could score 5. So, let's see how Aiku and Sai with Shido can they beat them? I don't think they can beat them, because we're not missing any key players anymore. we're really creating just fill-ins here. Except for Jotaro. Jotaro is just on the bench in place of someone. I think Jotaro's gonna get subbed on eventually, but it's likely in a position he's not too comfortable with. He does have high critical thinking skills, so he could play something like defense pretty well. But how well he could do, probably get subbed on for Nico after his injury. I think that would work pretty well. That's the only time I can see him coming onto the field, you know. I think Dio and Joseph are gonna really shine here, and as we move into the Neo Egoist League, they're gonna be some top players. They're gonna have a high value. Who I think's going to come out on top is it's gonna be a toss up in this U20 match, cause they're starting value evaluations now. In the U20 match, they're seeing these amazing plays, and they're gonna start now. So evaluating what the scoreboard is gonna look like, it's gonna be Rin on top. Rin's gonna go crazy, of course. He's Rin, Ritoshi Rin. I mean, come on. Dio's gonna be leading him. Joseph's gonna be leading Dio. Isagi's gonna be a close runner-up. He's heavily outnumbered here, because his only real target was Rin before. Now with these two big body players, with Joseph matching intelligence and Dio just being incredibly physically fit, I don't know what he's meant to do here. As the main character with plot armor, I don't know what he's meant to do here. So we may stop here. U20 match ends. Dio, Joseph, Rin obviously all shined. Isagi got 1 goal at the very end. And he played a great game. He played a great game, but he only got 1 goal. So, moving into the Neo Egoist League, like, it's tough. I don't want to split them up, but if they do have to be split up, I think Dio would work well in Ubers with Baru, and they could devour each other, make their way through. Joseph is going to go to Bastard, because he fits their logical playstyle well. And Jotaro, I think, is gonna go... He could go to PXG, really, but he could be in the back, and Jotaro's gonna get devoured. He's not gonna make it through the Neo Egoist League. That's what I'm thinking. I think the teams are gonna be exactly the same. How they end, Isagi's gonna be #1 with Rin. Dio's gonna be right next to Baru in place of Shido. Shido's gonna go down 1. Everyone's gonna move down 1. Well, I guess they'd have to go down 2. Because Joseph needs to be put in the mix. I think Joseph will be right next to Aiku, really. Because critical thinking, I think he's definitely top 10. I think he's in the 9th spot. And then you just kick out 2... They kick out the goal keep, that not Gargamar, the other one, the Fukaku guy. Kick him out, and then kick out Nanase. That's top 24, 23 right there. And that's gonna end the Neo Egoist League off, and that's gonna be where we are in terms of Bluelock right now, guys. We made it through. What happens after that? I don't know, because Bluelock hasn't even gotten to that part. But our ranking right now, we're looking at #1, Rin, #1, Isagi, number 3, technically 2, Dio, #4, technically 3, we're not going to say that for each time, we're going to start at 4 now, Joseph, #5, I don't know, I really don't know from there. I mean, the rankings, it'll all get messed up, of course, so it's not going to be like, Rayo #7. It's not going to stay the same, of course. Things are going to get messed up due to some people not even making it to the Neo Egoist League. So, let me know your thoughts on the comments on how things could proceed from here. Is Dio going to take it all the way? Could Joseph, continue to evolve his off-the-ball movements and just become a shining star in the field? Let me know your opinions in the comments. This has been a very fun video to edit, very fun video to make, and in my opinion, probably my greatest video to date. So, please subscribe, please leave a like, and come back for more JoJo's related content. I'll see you guys next time. Bye-bye.